Debate. Further debate. I recognize the member from Whitby, Oshawa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have an older laptop at home. It has become slow to react. Some of the keys on the keyboard, they don't function anymore, Speaker. And it has difficulty connecting to my network. And periodically, I turn it on and give it one last try, reboot it, and hope that the lost functionality would somehow return. But, Speaker, my disappointment is constant. It is simply too old, too tired, and the technology outdated. Like my old laptop, Madam Speaker, this government is too old, too tired, too slow to react, and one that has clearly lost its connection to the people who elected it into office. A throne speech like we heard on Monday, in effect, is an attempted hard reboot of this Liberal government and will do nothing to improve the lives of hard-working families in Ontario. What's clear, Madam Speaker, is that escalating hydro rates is the single key issue facing residents in my riding, and I'm sure yours, today. Every couple of months, almost everyone in the province is reminded of how critical it's become when they open their mail. And the question people are then forced to ask themselves is, how can I pay this bill and feed my family? Speaker, after losing the Scarborough-Rouge River by-election and understanding then that none of the other ridings are safe, this government is suddenly acutely aware that energy costs are too high and hurting Ontario families. And Speaker, how did this government react to this revelation? They proposed to drop the PST portion of the provincial hydro bill, an annual savings of 8%. 8% for consumers. Let us not forget that over the past year, according to Statistics Canada's Consumer Price Index, electricity rates in the province of Ontario have increased by 15.7%. Now, to put this into perspective, Speaker, the proposed 8% reduction of hydro bills represents only one-half of last year's increases alone. The government solution, a Band-Aid on a large open wound, does nothing to address the more fundamental failings of a broken hydro system. Speaker, in a report issued in 2015, the Auditor General of Ontario stated that the government ignored the Ontario Power Authority's 20-year technical plan, a plan reviewed by the Ontario Energy Board, and that plan, she said, would have offered protection to consumers. Instead of following the established legislative process, policy plans and 93 directives were issued that the auditor said did not fully consider the state of the electricity market, did not take long-term effects fully into account, and sometimes went against the Ontario Power Authority's advice. Ontario electricity ratepayers have had to pay billions for these decisions, she said. Billions, Speaker. Speaker, we have systemic problems with our hydro system, problems that completely overshadowed the weak attempt at solving them, as evidenced by the simple elimination of the PST on hydro bills. It hardly seems reasonable that a throne speech became the tool of choice, offering such a weak solution for a problem so deep-rooted and for all of our constituents, Speaker, so real. Energy costs will continue to rise because of the government's cap-and-trade cash grab. The government's plan is the definition of a shell game. The money simply goes in one pocket and it comes out the other. The same day the Liberal government will claim to save Ontarians money on their hydro bills, the cap-and-trade cash grab comes to an effect at a cost of $156 a year per family. The Liberals have only offered Band-Aid solutions for hard-working Ontario families in energy poverty, and that's really clear. It's clear to me every day when I'm in my constituency office listening to families pour out their heart about the struggles that they have with high electricity rates in this province. What's also clear, Speaker, is that rates will continue to skyrocket and life will become even more unaffordable, and tougher under the Liberals. Life is tougher under the Liberals. At the same time, the Liberal government is bearing the cost of the cap and trade on consumers' natural gas and home heating bills. This government only ever looks out for their political self-interest. But, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, pardon me, Madam Speaker, it's not just hydro where the waste and mismanagement by this government is evident. You'll realize that over the past month and a half, I've been traveling the province, visiting colleges and universities, engaging the trade sector as part of my critic portfolio, official opposition critic for advanced education and skills development. And what's clear out of those discussions is that the skills gap in this province continues to grow. And the people of Ontario that I speak with want action. Parents want to know, rightly, that their sons and daughters can leave university, college, or an apprenticeship with a chance to start a career and an opportunity to succeed. Employers complain that they can't find prospective employees with the right qualifications. And we hear from youth, and as I did on campuses, that they don't have the skills for the jobs that are available. We have to do better. We can do better. Speaker, it's time for this government to take real action and stop graduating people for yesterday's jobs. And yet the speech from the throne did not have any measures to address the province's skills mismatch. None whatsoever. According to the Conference Board of Canada, Ontario's skills shortages cost the economy up to $24.3 billion in foregone GDP, and Speaker, $3.7 billion in provincial tax revenues annually. In my view, we need to be relentless in lifting students' sights and raising their hopes. We can do better. Meanwhile, this government continues to neglect some of our province's most vulnerable. There's no mention of autism funding or demonstration in provincial schools in the government's priority speakers. And you'll know that we've had ample conversation on both topics, and you participated in that debate as well. Well, what's clear, Speaker, is that the Ontario PC caucus will continue to hold this government to account to ensure children reach their full potential. We also expect the Liberal government to ensure schools for deaf, blind and learning disabled children remain open past the 2016-2017 school year, and that funding for autism therapy for children older than 5 is restored. What's clear, Speaker, what's clear is that this government's moment has come and is gone. It's too little, too late. Ontario families will continue to see their hydro bills get more expensive. Every failed policy decision the Wynne Liberals have made over the last 13 years has made life harder and more unaffordable for Ontarians, and no throw-in speech is going to change that. Due to a third consecutive by-election loss, the Liberal government has attempted to reset its priorities to benefit only the Ontario Liberal Party, not hard-working Ontario families. Families in Whitby, Oshawa, and most recently Scarborough Rouge River have had enough. They want to see a government, Speaker, that listens and takes real action on their priorities, their main priority in particular, high electricity rates, not a tired and self-serving government who has lost its moral compass. I will conclude, Speaker, with an excerpt from a recent Globe and Mail editorial. By the time the next provincial election rolls around, the Liberals will have been in power for a decade and a half. Having done experimental surgery on the electricity system, they have no idea of how to cage their Frankenstein creation. So instead of fixing the fiasco, they're going to pay voters with their own money and hope that they don't notice. Thank you, Speaker.